Alright, you all saw the title of the video and the thumbnail, so let's just hop straight right into it. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about why Uzi versus V1 is a dog shit matchup, and it is. So let's get on into it. Before anything, before we get to like the connections and all that, I want to bring up the fight potential, and it's just not that good. It's just not that good at all. Like, okay, I will admit, before the Ultra Kill update, the fight potential was it was alright, I guess. Visually speaking, they could at least compare AP wise, durability wise, somewhat. Uzi, she could you know, she's comparable to people who could tank a planetary explosion. V1, he was able to deflect a punch from King Minos, the guy who was towering over like buildings, and he was so tall that they looked like 2D and looked all pixelated, and that was like planetary, if I remember correctly. So visually speaking, they could at least somewhat compare, but then that also falls apart with speed because at best V1 is relativistic, and Uzi is MFTL plus, so that doesn't really work because they can't visually compare in speed, but they could at least compare AP wise. But post Ultra Kill update, Minos' scaling got reworked, and now he's so tall that he's towering over the building, sure, but they don't look, you know, like pixelated anymore. It's not that high up anymore, so yeah, it's not really that good anymore. I don't really remember where it gets to. I think it's like city level or something. I don't remember. But like, yeah, so they can't visually compare that well anymore. So, yeah, the fight potential falls apart really quickly. They can't visually compare with physicals at all or with speed. And also, V1 just doesn't have any way to like compare to the Absolute Solver. V1 doesn't really have anything that's gonna be interesting to debate about regarding the Absolute Solver. So basically, the Absolute Solver is like this ultra powerful thingamajig. Someone like scaled all its hexes, and yeah, but it's a power system, right? But V1, yeah, V1 doesn't have anything that can really compare to it. He doesn't really have any cosmic abilities or anything, and he doesn't really have anything like the Absolute Solver. The only thing I can really see that you could potentially use is that one variant of the railgun that used hell energy, the hell energy laser, but like that's just with one weapon, and it's not really as comparable to the Absolute Solver, and it doesn't really make it interesting either. So yeah, fight potential, absolute dog water, which it's a pretty big component of a matchup. You want the fight to actually be entertaining. The fight is mostly just gonna be V1 being there. V1 doesn't really have anything. And then moving on to the connections, they're not really saving anything either. The connections are, from what I've seen, Both are murder-loving robots. That's not true. Both feed off bodily fluids, which is kind of true, but it doesn't really go into their characters that well. Both are proficient with guns/weapons. Not really. That's not really true either. Both are capable of healing damage dealt to them. I mean, yeah, but again, that doesn't really go into their character. Both have/can have biological flesh. V1 has fleshy insides like other machines, as confirmed by Hikita. Uzi can manifest biological parts due to the Absolute Solver mutating her, which, okay, that's cool, but again, doesn't really go into their characters. Both are sometimes controlled/influenced by outside forces. V1 is sometimes spoken to and directed by Hell. No, that's not true at all. And Uzi has been possessed by the Absolute Solver, unless I'm misremembering that. I haven't watched the show in a while. I don't really think she was possessed by the Absolute Solver at all. She kind of controls it pretty well. Unless you're talking about Sin, then yeah, but that was like a one-time thing, and it wasn't really a major story part. Minor connection, but both have a railgun that takes fucking ages to recharge. I mean, yeah, but like everything else is kind of a minor connection or just straight up wrong. Another minor connection, but both have fought defeated robots with V in their name. V1 killed V2 and Uzi fought V a couple of times. That doesn't really go into their character either. So let's get into one of the connections, which is just blatantly not true. Both are sometimes controlled/influenced by outside forces. V1 was never spoken to or directed by Hell. V1's actions are directed from his bloodlust and his need to keep getting blood so that he can live. That's what he is directed by. He's not directed by Hell. He's directed by his bloodlust and his need to survive. So that's not true at all. Uzi, she was possessed by Sin, but that wasn't really a major plot point or anything to her character. This doesn't really go into their characters a whole lot. In terms of contrasts... Oh yeah, before we get into that actually, both are murder-loving robots. Well, V1 kind of is, but he doesn't really love murdering. It's more like he kills so that he can survive. He's not a psychopath. Neither is Uzi. From what I can remember, she, like, wants to kill humans, but I don't really remember why she does, but, like, she doesn't really love murder. We can see that murder of robots, it really disturbs her, unless she has to kill them, but when she sees innocent robots being killed, she has shown to get somewhat disturbed by it. But she's not really a murder-loving robot, neither is V1, so that's just not true at all. Contrast. V1 is unemotional in its killing, just having a drive to get more blood, while Uzi very passionately wants to kill the worker drone's human creators. That's kind of downplaying it. V1, it's not that he's unemotional with it. I mean, he kind of is. It's just he's a robot. He doesn't feel anything. Except for fear. He is very afraid, and the reason why he wants to get more blood is because he wants to survive. It would be better to say his drive for survival, because that's more in character. Uzi doesn't really passionately want to kill the humans. When she did encounter someone she thought was a human, she didn't immediately go for the kill. In fact, she actually teamed up with them. So Uzi isn't exactly psychopathic either. And this kind of like contradicts what's shown. V1 fuels off blood, Uzi feeds off oil, so neither can feed off the other unless Uzi's biological mutations from the Absolute Solver bleeds. that's not a really good contrast. Uzi is very talkative and loves to talk shit, while V1 doesn't say anything, unless you can count that one dialogue box in 4-4, but I don't really think that's V1. No, that is V1. They're literally saying, "You are not getting away this time," in reference to V2, who escaped from their previous encounter. So, yeah, not really interesting connections nor contrasts, and the fight potential is dog shit. The only way I can really see this matchup working is if, in the future, V1 gets some kind of buff from Hell or God. Or the Father, sorry, I should call him by the Father. The only real way I can really see V1 being able to compare to the Absolute Solver is if he gets some sort of, if he, like, gets amped by Hell or the Father. If he gets amped by the Father, that would give him some nice contrasts to the Absolute Solver, where one is a bloodthirsty, rampaging path of destruction type of entity, and the other is a benevolent deity figure. So, I guess if that happens in Ultra Kill, then yeah, I can see the fight potential kind of working at that point. But V1 would also need upgrades to his physicals and his speed, as well as hexes to compare to Uzi at all. So until that happens, if that would happen, I can't see the fight potential working. I mean, if you can get the fight potential working, yes, the fight would be fun, I guess. The connections aren't really that good, but the fight would be fun if you can get the fight potential to work, which, like I said, V1 would need, like, some way to visually compare to Uzi in physicals and speed, and he would need some kind of hack system that's comparable to the Absolute Solver. So until that happens, I can't really see this matchup working. I'm sorry to everyone who really loves this matchup, but this matchup just doesn't work. It doesn't work, and it's not really gonna have an interesting fight either. It doesn't have connections, no interesting contrasts, no fun fight. I don't see this matchup working. Both have way better options for Death Battle. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry for the kind of basic video. I just wanted to get something out. And I wanted to get this video done anyway, so, yeah. That's pretty much it. So I'll see you all next time. Bye.